Changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide if these older generations. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough.
There we are. We're on. Hello, guys. How are you?
Good.
Hey.
How are you?
Okay, everybody. Hi, everybody that's in chat. True Crime, Sunshine, you're right here. Frankie, love you. Single Mom for how you doing, girl? Nosy Ren, Becca Chu. Oh, Mississippi Granny, so nice to see you. All right, let's just dig into this. I'm going to let Arctic take it and let me get up what he wants to talk about.
Oh no, you can't just throw me to the wolves like that.
Straight to the wolves.
You're just so busy, you know. I mean, this poor guy wakes up to cases in his face. So, if
you know, I mean, if we're talking about why certain cases get attention and others don't, I mean, a lot of it has to do, unfortunately, with how a certain person looks. In my opinion, which is why, you know, you've got Kylie getting all kinds of attention, even after she's been found. And you've got this little boy, Lucian, who's lost out in Yakima, Washington, and he's barely getting any coverage on YouTube. He's getting the occasional video here and there. And now law enforcement's wanting to scale the search back. Look at all the resources they spent on Kylie. And now after 4 days, they're wanting to scale back the search completely on this little autistic boy that's lost.
Yeah, but here, let me bring him up on screen. I hope you guys can see it. I think it came up. There you go. I don't know if I can make it any bigger. I don't think so, but we'll just deal with that. Okay. How's that, guys? This is the little boy he's talking about. Go ahead, Arctic.
So Lucian, for those that aren't familiar with the case, he's an autistic child. He went missing about 4 days ago in Yakima, Washington. His parents were at the park. His dad went to change a diaper on one of the other children, and in that short period of time, the child was able to get away from the parents. And I will give law enforcement credit where it's due. They have been out there. They've been doing a valiant search. They've had out there searching the waterways. They've searched by air. They had kayaks out there, everything. But after 4 days, they're scaling back the search. Now, the thing is we're talking about 4 days. Look how long they searched high and low for Kylie, you know, and this family's begging for help and trying to find their little boy. You know, the law enforcement, they're saying that, you know, they have exhausted all of their resources. And they claim that, you know, they want to be as thorough as possible, but yet on the 4th day, they're scaling back their resources and pretty much, you know, with the exception of what the public's willing to do, stopping the extensive search for this kid. And basically, here's what they said. We've pretty much exhausted all of our previous search areas to the point where this is probably the most heavily searched areas that I've seen in all the searches I've done. It was what one of the law enforcement officers said. They have used 15 search dogs. They've used ATVs. They've used boats, helicopters, and underwater drones. And they found 0 leads to this point. There's been no footprints, absolutely nothing. And the place has been very densely packed with people. and they haven't found a single clue. And of course, I'm sure with all the people there, even if there had been some footprints, they wouldn't have been of much evidentiary value, because I'm sure they got disturbed with everyone else that's been over there trampling everything around. And what gets me about the whole situation is they're sitting there saying, well, we've had to deal with homeless individuals throwing rocks and yelling and screaming at searchers to leave, and it's dangerous with the homeless people. There's a lot of cougar sightings out in the area. Okay, well, so you're saying that law enforcement that's trained to deal with all of this, you're going to cut back your search because it's too dangerous, but you're going to throw this 4-year-old little boy to the wolves, so to speak, because, I mean, if it's dangerous for you, what do you think it's like for this little boy?
Yeah. That's exactly it. That just breaks my heart to say, well, there's wild animals and there's criminals. This is a child that cannot fight any of them off. You're an adult. You have guns. You have protection. You have a phone. You know what I mean? You have resources to help protect you. This child has nothing but what he was wearing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, and the family, God bless their hearts, they've had people dragging them on Facebook left and right too. How did this happen? Blah, 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 blah. Well, I mean, we know it only takes a split second for a child to get away, especially an autistic child. Autistic children have really, really high IQs. They're some of the smartest children that you'll ever meet. But that, unfortunately, also puts them at great peril, because they are escape artists. They can get away quicker than the average child can, because they are able to get through locks and everything else. I mean, we've seen it in case after case. So
okay, well, okay, you guys, I'll do this like you're telling me to do. All right,
It may work.
Yeah. Okay. Now that I do that, now I have to stop my screen sharing and get a picture. So let me do that real quick. And I will get that picture up for you guys to see closer, because I know that's what you're asking for. All right.
Arctic, is there water close to where he came up missing?
Yes.
I haven't pulled it up on Google Maps yet, because I saw an article that said he likes to fish, and that terrifies me.
Exactly. It's not very often that I hope for abduction in a case, but in this case, that's kind of what I'm hoping for, because with the fact that he likes fish as much as he does, and it being so close to the river, God, it scares me to death for that little boy.
Oh, not the river.
Yeah.
I said I haven't looked it on Google Earth yet. Usually that's my go-to.
Guys? Can you see it now? I don't know if it's any different, because I can't see when I'm doing it. Listen here.
And single mom of 4, as far as that goes, the father can't charge anyone. Law enforcement would have to press charges, and I haven't seen anything to that effect that any charges have been filed against anyone. So,
is that better? You guys can see it better, huh? That's better. Okay, good. Hi, Days. Good to see you. Hi, everybody's coming in. So, you want to explain the last known and up to date what they have done for him?
Well, I mean, like I said, they've had the drones out, underwater drones. They've had air searches out. They've brought the dogs out. I mean, it's been an extensive search. I want to give law enforcement credit where it's due, but I don't think 4 days after 4 days, they should be pulling back the search, especially when he was last known to be headed towards the Yakima River. He was headed south towards the river. So,
I've heard you say that some are verbal and some are non-verbal. Is he verbal?
The initial information that came out said that he was nonverbal, but we've since learned that he can indeed speak, but it's very limited as to what his vocabulary is. So he still wouldn't be able to really tell anyone what type of danger he was in.
Right. But when like somebody's searching for him and calling his name, he does recognize his name, and he would go to that. I mean, the parent, I think you can get the most information from. Now, this is just my view. I really professionally know nothing about autism. I've been asking Arctic about it, because it's I guess a very wide range of different things. So what I'm asking is, has the parent given any like patterns this child does, or like don't approach, don't touch his hair, or don't, you know what I mean? Is there something that this individual child does that the parent could tell somebody to maybe help in the search and find?
They did have a little press conference yesterday. There wasn't any specifics as to, whether he can't, because a lot of autistic children, they do have sensory issues,
Mm-hmm.
but that was not mentioned in the press conference that the parents did yesterday.
Okay.
So, but I mean, like I said, it is a spectrum. You've got children that can't speak at all. You've got children that you would never know they were autistic just by looking at them or being around them,
Right.
except for if you had to deal with them on a day-to-day basis, because they have, they're very high maintenance as far as having a lot of anxiety. Some of them have sensory issues where they can't tolerate being touched.
Right.
So it's a wide spectrum, and the anxiety issue is a lot of the reason why we see so many of these autistic children that are found in waterways, because they find the water calming, and
Mm-hmm.
it helps calm them down. But unfortunately, it presents a big danger to them as well. So
Okay, well then, that being said, like I said, I think the parents could give the best, like, if there's certain things that happen, because I remember talking to Austin's mom, and remember she said certain things he did or didn't do, and I think that would help if the mother could think of certain things, like, oh, he absolutely hates his feet touching grass, or you know what I mean. Even my grandchildren have that problem, but I'm saying with autism, the parent would probably be the best one to listen to as far as how to find safely and not scare the child or make them go through anything that they would.
oh, yeah, I mean, and I agree, and I would love to have some of the family come and talk about the case,
Mhm.
especially now where you've got law enforcement wanting to kind of, in my opinion, drop the ball prematurely. I mean, I want to give them
Well,
credit where it's due for doing a thorough search for the last 4 days, but I mean,
you
come
don't
on,
give up.
you
You
don't
tell
give up on a 4-year-old little boy that's out
4
there.
days, 4 years old. No, that's not how you do it. If they're going to bring out the big dogs, then I think they should continue, because they're saying something about safety and all this and that. That just kind of scares me. But like, oh, like where the wind blows says, that's very good. You could bring food and stuffed animals out. Yeah, exactly. Like if this child, I know the girl that just was found from the airport. She had a blanket that she had from her biological mother, which they lost, and I guess it meant a lot to her. So she doesn't even know that, what she's going to do about that. So maybe Lucian has some blanket, or I see he has a passy in his mouth, a pacifier. So, maybe he needs that, and you could bring that with. I think honestly, law enforcement, and especially, needs to listen to the parent of all missing children. They know them better. I've said
Yeah,
that. I
I
always.
mean, and Darkness is right with the recent uptick in abductions. It's scary, but at this point, with him being that close to the river, abduction would be preferable over him being drowned in the river, quite
Right,
honestly,
right,
or getting eaten by a cougar.
right.
I mean,
Do you want a
you know,
link, Darkness? I can give you the link, and you can come up and join us. What do you have to think about this, Sunshine? I know you are, on this stuff just like Arctic.
And it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying that he is, at least he's verbal a little bit, but still being nonverbal. It's not like he can just go up to somebody and say, "Hey, you know, I'm lost." A 4-year-old is still able to say, "Where's my mom?"
Right.
Absolutely terrifying. And like I was saying, it being that close to the river and seeing the article that he likes to fish.
Hmm.
I have a sister that's severely autistic, and the thought of her being anywhere near water without at least three of us right there beside her it's terrifying.
Right.
And the age groups of if this is an abduction, and if it is abduction, I'm going to say if you have this little boy, his mother was in tears. It was heartbreaking. Will rip your heart out to look at the press conference that she did.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Take him somewhere. Take him to an emergency room. Take him to a police department, a fire department, somewhere. Drop him off safely. Please don't hurt this child.
Exactly. And the sad thing is that law enforcement isn't even looking at the possibility that this could be an abduction. They're convinced there's no foul play involved. Now, allegedly, he was seen on one video camera where he was alone. But when was that taken? When was he seen on the video? What could have happened to him between then and now? So, it's just all things that you've got to look at. You should never take anything off the table unless you've got evidence to prove that this child was not abducted.
Absolutely. Everything. Look at all points. Everything is a point of interest until the child's found, in my opinion. Every person, every area, every camera, every traffic camera, and scaling back a search, that infuriates me.
Well, and the thing is in that park, apparently, there aren't many cameras. That's one of the things that was brought to my attention by my friends over at Missing Justice. They've been in contact with Lucian's grandmother, and apparently there's just not a lot of cameras there, and she's trying to work towards getting better camera coverage in all the parks, which I think is an amazing idea, why in 2022 we don't have great cameras out there in these parks, I don't know.
Absolutely. And yeah, single mom, like I said, don't drop him off just anywhere. Take him to an ER, police station, fire station, somewhere safe. Don't just hand him to somebody if you have him. Please. And call 911 immediately if you see this child.
Absolutely, guys. And I mean, and if you have information or anything, like I say all the time, no tip's ever too small to call in. Sometimes that's one thing that you may think police already know about that breaks a case wide open. So
no tip's ever too small.
I always say that if you could be the eyes, to bring this one home. I use that in almost every one of my shares, because what we're doing is sharing their faces. Just look at the face. Look at the face, because a lot of all the variation and talk about it is not what you need when you need the facts. You need his face, his size, his what he was wearing, possibly, because who knows if he still is. If somebody grabbed him. Was he?
Well, we know what he was last seen wearing was a blue shirt, I believe they said, with sharks on it. So we do know the last clothing description, which is more than what we get in a lot of cases. So
yeah, well, we've talked about that many times about not even having a picture. Okay, and honestly, the picture thing I see more with indigenous and native communities than I do anywhere else. Anywhere else. I have to say that it's very sad to me that they're not more diligent on getting pictures of these missing people. How are you supposed to look for somebody when you don't know what they look for? It just
or you pull up an official poster and it says things like their eye color's black.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, and we've even had Amber Alerts come out where there wasn't a picture of the child on there for an Amber Alert when the Amber Alerts initially issued. And I'm like, how in the world are we supposed to go out there and do a video and try to get this child's face out there if you can't even give us a picture of the child that was abducted?
Oh, exactly. And that just happened just recently. Just last or a couple days ago, I think, Arctic, there was an Amber Alert and there was no picture, and you were like, well, it'd be great to have a picture. And
yeah, absolutely. I covered a case recently where a mother had taken off with a child that she was supposed to surrender to DCFS, and all we were told is it's a young child. Well, I later found out the child was 5 years old, but to this day, we still don't have a picture of that child or anything. So we don't even know the child's name. Just a young child.
Huh? How does that happen? I mean, wait a minute. Who reports a nameless child with no picture missing? I mean,
Well, again, apparently they're supposed to be in the hands of DCFS, and the weird rules and regulations regarding children in DCFS custody. That may be part of it. I don't know, but I know that there are times where I don't care what the rules and regulations are. A child goes missing. You get that name out, you get that picture out, and don't give us a picture that's 5 years out of date either. Give us an accurate picture and an accurate description of what that child looks like. So.
Well, a perfect example is Summer Wells. Let's be real honest here about Summer Wells' poster. Was not what she looked like. It was not her right size, her right weight. No, that was all details that are so important. Just like I'm going to give her a plug because I love her. Leave it to Bieber. If you have not subbed up to her, which I'm sure all of you have, please go sub to her. She just brought to my attention and everybody else's that this little boy that she speaks on, they retracted a thing saying he was on a bike when they said apparently he was on a bike, either or, one or the other. I can't remember. And them little details, either being on foot or being on a bike, matter. That people don't. Well, that's so what? They made a mistake. That's a big mistake if you're looking.
It is a big mistake, and part of the problem in Summer's case. Now, in fairness, and again, I'm not saying anything against Dawn and Candace right now. I'm just saying when an Amber Alert's issued, the parent is generally the one responsible for providing the photo that goes out during that Amber Alert. They are the ones that provided, the picture of Summer in that infamous red dress with her long hair, knowing that she had her head shaved and everything else. So.
And she wasn't that chunky looking because she was older. So
and because she'd been eating nothing but Dollar Tree frozen pizzas and candy, but now we won't go there. But.
Yeah, I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying the differences between somebody who has a poster with the current picture of their child, which to me, I find very hard. I can't criticize. Let's just put it this way. It's not me to judge the parents that don't have pictures, but I'm suggesting to parents that have been put through this and don't have pictures, please start taking pictures of your children. Take them once a month at least, because they do change when they're that young. And it would help if ever, God forbid, you should be put in that situation, you would be able to have a picture of your child. Because
it seems like parents go from one extreme to the other. They're either posting their kids all over social media, which is a great way to get them snagged, or they don't post their kids at all, which is it's fine. But when they go missing, where's the updated photo? Where's the correct information about what this child looks like?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And yes, you are right. Where the wind blows, they did have current pictures of Summer. So why they didn't hand that to the law when they were making a poster, I don't know. Did they want her to just look pretty or something? I've never been able to figure that out, and I don't have the answers for that. Only people that have the answers for that are the people that gave the pictures. So
oftentimes when we go to cover these cases, the pictures that are out there, and it goes back to what we're saying about Summer, is these freaking filtered Instagram pictures or glamour shots pictures and whatever. That's not what that kid's going to look like if you see him out on the street. If you're going to put a post out about a missing child, put what they naturally look like, not some filtered Instagram or Snapchat picture.
Well, I remember that this one girl, I'm sorry, I'm very bad at names. Everybody knows me and knows that. Can't remember her name, but her only picture they had of her was her wearing a little doggy, face from Instagram. How you can put them. And how are you going to tell what that little person looked like without that? The eyes are different. They got that thing covering most of their face with ears on, and it's not them. It's 100%. I agree with you, Art. They need to have more updated pictures. Keep a little bit more update on your children. Gosh, I hope what's that say? It's done showing that? I must have got rid of it. Okay, let's move on to this one. Let me get out of there for a minute and let's talk about this one here for Sunshine. She wants to bring this up, and I have been on this too, sharing this lady's poster for a lot. long time. I'm going to have to take it. I think maybe you'll be able to see this one. Let me see. Here we go. There we go. How's that? Can you guys see it? Let's see if we got share in here. Should come up. Roll of delay. There you go. Can you see that? I hope you guys can see that one. It's pretty clear. It's a beautiful poster that our little True Crime with Sunshine makes these beautiful posters with very much detail. And I'll let her continue to speak on it. Go ahead, honey.
Okay, this is Jackie Reyes. I've seen her a lot on Twitter. I had actually never seen her on Facebook. And guys, I have a TikTok, but I don't stay on there very much. I was actually tagged along with Arctic and Ikamel and a couple other creators in a post. The Twitter post was Jackie's name, and I opened the post and got to looking at it, and this mother is heartbroken. Jackie's been missing since June the 1st of this year. She's originally from Arizona. She actually grew up in Arizona. I've got it wrote down here where she grew up at. But she grew up in Arizona in Flagstaff. She was adopted and didn't have any family other than an aunt that I know of here in Florida that she actually knew. She was able, once she got here to Florida, to meet her biological father. Jackie suffers from depression, anxiety, and she had just lost the man that raised her adopted father. Once she got to Florida, she arrived here in March. The story that I was able to read in the information that I've collected was that she showed up on her aunt's doorstep in March. Her aunt welcomed her into her home, and they were later on in June, they got into an argument. It was on June the 1st over laundry. She packed a backpack with a few belongings, her laptop, and she left. Her aunt figured she would take a couple of days to cool down and would come back home. She hasn't been seen since. Now, she was not actually reported officially missing until July 1st. Her mother did not find out that she was missing until June the 28th. Sorry, guys. This mother has reached out to law enforcement for help when she was officially reported missing. Palm Beach Sheriff did do a missing persons case on her. She does have a missing persons case on their Facebook page, and I believe she's on their Twitter as well. What bothers me about this is on July the 15th, she was allegedly, and I'm going to very strongly say allegedly, seen on CCTV footage in a store that she frequents, is what it was said online. From the picture, the surveillance picture, it looks like a dispensary or some type of a dispensary. They didn't actually make contact with this lady. They just assume that that's her on the CCTV footage and that she's okay. She's 30 years old and it's her choice not to have contact with her family.
Oh, that drives me crazy when they say that. When they say, well, you have a right to be missing if you're an adult. Well, no, you have a right to have privacy and live your own life and exit yourself from other people if you want. But missing is a different, you shouldn't be using that term as far as I'm concerned, because it honestly makes people worry. These people are worried. Her loved ones are worried about her. It's not normal behavior. If it is normal behavior, I don't think they'd be worried, right?
No, it's not normal behavior for her. And her mom is very worried. This is a girl that called her mom every day on a daily basis. They had a very close relationship. Even though they were living apart, they still had a close relationship, and she still stayed in contact with her mom.
Yeah.
Her mom hasn't heard from her in over 100 days. And this woman gets on TikTok every day, and she does a new TikTok telling you what day it is. She's in
this
tears.
Is that woman. Oh my
she
God.
has an oxygen mask on.
Yeah.
You guys that are on Twitter, y'all know, y'all have seen this lady.
Yes.
And she just wants her daughter to call and make sure she's okay. If you guys have seen this woman anywhere in the state of Florida or between here and Arizona, because her being depressed and in the state of mind that she was in, losing her biological father shortly after she got here, we don't know where she is. But I live here, and I'm going to tell you, this is not a friendly place anymore. This is not Florida of the 80s. This is not Florida of the 90s. This is not MTV Spring Break no more. This place is evil.
You ain't got
It's
to tell me I live
absolutely
there.
evil down here. And
I live
she's
there.
not from here.
Yeah.
And she's beautiful and she has a fashion background. And
Wow.
she was a very successful when she was in Arizona. Nobody's really sure why she left. She just wanted to change, take a change, I guess, and meet her biological family.
It's very
And
sad.
my heart goes out to that mama. I have seen her videos, and I share as many of them as I can. Her, pleading for help. And then she recently had a private investigator get her hopes up that he was going to help and everything, only to ask her for an outrageous amount of money. And this woman's on disability. She can't afford a private investigator or anything like that. I mean, why get a woman's hopes up like that when you know that she's not able to afford something like that?
Absolutely. And she was heartbroken about that. There's a video you can watch her cry. And then some psycho sent her a bunch of messages that just I'm not going to get into detail
Oh
because they're
yeah. Oh yeah.
horrible.
That's a whole nother level of a sickness of what people do to
But
people.
victim abusing, because
Yes.
she is a victim. Her daughter's missing, and the whoever this guy or girl or whatever you want to call yourself was that messaged this mom, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Oh my gosh, yes, you should. I don't even know the details, but I do know that it made this mother, her heart just, I mean, if you don't think her heart is broken enough from not hearing from her daughter, okay, but then you have some jerk off that's using this case to, uh, to, what do you want to terrorize? I guess, um, put put evil thoughts in the poor mom's mind of what might happen to her daughter, or they got people that say, well, I know where your daughter is, but I want money. You got all these kind of people. What's the matter with you people? Look at her beautiful face. Her name is Jackie Reyes, right?
Yes, ma'am.
She's 30 years old. Her hair color is brown. Her eyes are brown. She's 5'8". She weighs about 110 pounds. Look for her in Florida. Look for her everywhere. And you know what you guys can do? Share her picture. Share it everywhere. Look at these beautiful posters. There, don't you want to share them when you see them? They're so beautiful. And they bring out her different looks. Look at how many different looks this girl can have.
And
Um,
she does
That's
like to wear a cap. She does like to wear a baseball cap, and she does like to change her hair a lot. That's why I put different pictures on there,
right. She looks
And,
because
to
and that's why I love your posters, Sunshine,
me.
because you put the different looks that the people have on there, which is so important when trying to raise awareness. Because people change up their hair, they change up their makeup, and so it's important to have that on the posters when you put them out.
Oh, I've seen, like in Austin's case, she brought the car forward where you could see better the car that they caught on. So it takes her, I mean, just the thinking out of the box. Like you get a poster from the missing child, exploited children, and it's one. Oops, guys, you're gonna have to talk. I got lawn people here. Okay. Oh gosh, here we go.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I love about the posters that Sunshine does. She captures them in all of their different looks and everything. When you get a poster from, say, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, you're lucky to get one good picture of that child on there, and who knows, what they may look like, what their look's going to be from day to day, especially with girls. Girls change their looks all the time. Boys, it's not as big a deal because they generally keep their look pretty much the same. But girls can do so much with their hair and everything. So
hmm yeah, and with girls, you throw a baseball cap on and pull your ponytail up and put on, a t-shirt and a pair of blue jeans. If you're missing, I mean, nobody's looking for a boy, they're looking for a girl with long hair, or this color hair, or that color hair. So it's faces. You want to look for faces, guys. And thank you so much. I appreciate that. Where the wind blows, I work hard on them, and I try to make sure that the information's correct on them. I do have to correct them from time to time where I get a lot of requests or I find a lot of cases, and I'm trying to get them all out. So if you find one that has incorrect information, don't hesitate to reach out to me, because I'm not going to get angry. Believe me, I want them to be correct, because I generally try to get clearance from family members or Arctic or, whoever reached out to me before I share them, because a lot of times I've got 900 things going on in the background too, and still trying to focus on my passion and being able to be here for the missing and do my part for the real crime community.
Yeah, and we appreciate everything you do. As I'll tell you what, she's on the ball with it. I can't count how many times I've reached out to her because a child does not even have a missing poster, or the one that they have is useless. And within 30 minutes, she's done an amazing poster for the child. So she is definitely a very valuable asset to this team.
And so is Arctic. If y'all are not already subbed up, which I'm sure mostly everybody is, but if you watch this replay, make sure you sub up to him because he does amazing missing videos and he pumps them out like a machine.
Oh,
What kills me on Facebook is where you're scrolling through your feed and you see a parent with just the single picture because they've reached out to law enforcement and they're getting some reason or a list of reasons of why they can't get an official poster from law enforcement. Those are the ones that just infuriate me.
You know, I just want to put it out there that we do have resources available to us that a lot of people don't have. So if you're having a problem getting a missing poster done, not only do we have Sunshine who does incredible posters, but I've also got connections with the Gabby Petito Foundation and with the Aware Foundation to where I can reach out to them and I can get a poster made that way as well. So
yep, we are a great team and with a lot of background and resources, and we worked really well together and, you know, definitely trying to make a difference in a good way.
I think they're gone now, guys. They're not even good looking enough for them to bother me that much. You know the one, guys. Sorry, but yes, I was gonna.
They sold my building, and earlier they were out here with a pressure washer, and all I could think was, "Oh my goodness, we're gonna go live, and they're gonna be."
They're still doing it. I hope it doesn't bother you guys. I'm really very sorry if it does. I just don't want to let these guys. You know, I don't want to drop a ball here. Let me see. Missouri said they don't do missing posters. I don't know if that's true, but the dispatcher told me that. I wonder why that would be.
there is a group that does really well. That does missing posters for the Kansas and Missouri area. I forget off the top of my head what group that is, but I do share a lot of their posters to my community page. Um, Unfortunately, they're when they do their posters, they're not necessarily the best. And it's not saying anything against them. At least they're getting posters out there, but the pictures are super small and it's hard to read those posters. And so when you go to post them to a community tab, it's even more difficult for people to read them. So, but it's better than no awareness.
Okay, I was just going to say, let's speak about a little of the things that we can do. Like, I know Arctic has access to people that can put up a billboard if need be. He also, like the Awareness Foundation is wonderful. Let me see. Well, there was something else I wanted to say about. I just had a massive brain leave your head moment here. I don't even know.
There are a ton of resources available to those that have a loved one missing. And I've got a lot of those links in the descriptions of my videos. Also, like I said, you know, anyone can reach out to me at any time. I do know that Lamar Media Group will oftentimes help out with a billboard if a loved one's missing. Again, I can get in contact with certain places to try to get the face out there. Like in Lucian's case, I mean, there was coverage of him and stuff, but I felt it important that his face be on the Aware Foundation's website as well as the Gabby Petito's. And so I reached out, and within 30 minutes, I had him on both of their websites. So.
Right. It's getting it. What it is connecting with the right resources for the right situation, and we are finding. I mean, Arctic. Some of it just drops in Arctic's lap because he does so many missing posters. I mean, we have to nominate him a #1 face shower of this YouTube streets because it's absolutely the truth. He puts out many faces, and they come, oh, found. It's a win. It's a good day that day when, you see somebody that you put a poster out for and you find out that they're found, and that they're safe. And it's a good feeling, and it makes it all worth it for us. Okay. It's the
I mean,
cases.
but it's a team effort for
Mhm.
sure. It's not just between the three of us, but
Right.
also with these other groups that I work with. Because I mean, like I reached out to Missing Justice as well, and
Yeah.
they put a flyer out for Lucian. I mean, so
it's it's just getting the right people, to put out the faces. All we want to do is put out faces, tell their story. um I think Arctic has just been in it for, what I'm trying to say is that Arctic's been in for a while. Like, I don't know these resources. I'm learning them. I find them. I share them. I share them with the team. But once, if you've been in it for a little while, Arctic's kind of he's got a filter. He knows where to put the right person with the right things. So, that's real important, and he shares it with all of you. So it's just bettering all of us to know these places that we can find, the free ride home for a runaway, the Adam Foundation. There's so many other things out there, and it's good for us to be able to tell you about it. It's good
I
for,
mean, I don't really promote the free ride home for runaways as
yeah,
much because that goes through Greyhound, and they have not had a real good track record here lately. I would not recommend any child getting on a Greyhound today.
I feel bad when I say that, Arctic, about the free ride, because if somebody needs it, it's there. But I feel the same way you do about Greyhound. I do. It's not a safe place.
Grounds are dangerous, especially in big cities,
Mm-hmm. Well,
because
it's a
Greyhound
small town.
stations are huge, and they always seem to build them in like the worst part of town.
Right. It
You know,
does. And some
absolutely.
little gas station. Yeah, it's
And
crazy.
the thing is we see all these people going missing from Greyhound bus stops here lately, and there's never any good video footage of them. They can't even tell you in some of these cases if their ticket was punched or not. So I want to know what type of shady operation they're running. I mean, this is 2022, and you're telling me that you don't have decent cameras at your bus stops? That
Yeah.
is negligence on your part. I mean,
Yeah. It's hard to promote somebody where they've had so many instances of people coming up missing from being on a bus. So it's kind of hard to promote that, but that it is in a pinch. But I honestly would think just call the law and they'll give you a ride home. Um,
no,
it's
absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of resources out there to runaways, and I do generally put that information out. And one of the things that is that so many of these families, when they reach out to me, they they're desperate
yeah,
because they are not getting any help from law enforcement. They've reached out to people that are supposed to be helping them. They feel like they're all alone. And that is the worst time for any family member to feel like they're in this by themselves. And so, you know, I try my best to help them and put them in touch with people that can help them and not make them feel like they're so alone.
right. Because if you've seen it, I've seen it, our subs have seen it. When a family reaches out to somebody that has different intentions, they get exploited. Then they have things used against them that should are lies, manipulating of the source where it come from, a whole bunch of different reasons. But these families need to know they have a safe area that they can tell their story, and that's it. I mean, I'm not here to judge them, to police them. I don't think that's our jobs. I don't think any one of us feel that way. So all we want to do is talk about their stories, and when they're not just missing people and go home, when their stories turn into horrible things, like Sunshine knows quite a bit of them. Mainly, is it called the 13 Billboard 13 murder or
It,
something like that?
it's the murder billboard of Cookeville, Tennessee, and it's District 13.
Okay, so it's, yeah, District
Hmm.
13. You want to talk a little bit about that? Because that honestly broke my heart watching your video with the mom. And we were just talking about it before we came on, that there's some famous people here that just because you're famous don't mean you're always going to be the subject, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. The murder billboard of Cookeville, Tennessee has 14 faces on it. There's 22 cases altogether, but a lot of the families, since they do still live in Tennessee, don't feel comfortable actually coming out. So there are 14 faces on the billboard. Those faces that are on that billboard are all faces of missing and murdered people that have gotten no justice in the state of Tennessee. District Attorney Bryant Dunaway took over, and when he took over, he decided that the cases that were unsolved or cases that he didn't feel were viable for him to relook at because they were there before him. It wasn't his problem. I've actually got family members that are banned from the courthouse, that are banned from his office, that are actually not allowed to go in there anymore. These are family members that have reached out and asked for help and had like the talk to the hand put up in their faces and told that it wasn't his problem. There are drug dealers that have been given pre-trial diversion, which is pretty much come in once a month, pay $100, and you're good to do whatever you want to do. While a man got no justice, what OD'd on her property, was robbed from his deceased body, and no justice for his family whatsoever. There are people that have been deemed to have committed suicide whenever it was clearly not a suicide, and that it's absolutely heartbreaking that these families are getting no justice. And one of the faces on that billboard is Courtney Cash. She's Johnny Cash's niece. She was brutally murdered and put inside of where I'm from, we call it a hope chest box. And her murderer walks free today. One person's in jail, but he doesn't even belong there because he's not the one that did it.
Oh boy. Yeah. That's terrible. It's a very sad thing. And I know you have a lot more information that you're going to be putting out. I'm not quite sure when, because we've been talking about quite a few cases, and there's so many, like the Dozer boys. That is how you pronounce it, correct?
Yes, the
Okay.
Dozer boys. That's heartbreaking.
Oh my gosh, that is, and that shows years and decades of abuse. And
It does. I mean, and the sad thing is in the Dozier case, like Sunshine was telling us yesterday, some of them are afraid to come forward or afraid to talk about it on the channel because they're like, well, I mean, what good is it going to do? And the thing is that it could do a world of good. We don't want the past to repeat itself. It's much like, why we teach the Holocaust in schools today is because we never want something that atrocious to ever happen again. And it may help bring some justice for those victims that this has happened to. So.
And
absolutely,
it's true that some of these don't have no families that know where they are. There's somebody that's I don't want to talk too much about it because Juju Bones is, and if you haven't subbed up to her, please sub up to her. It's True Crime and Coffee, was it? Is that the original name?
Yeah, her original channel name was True Crime and Coffee.
Right. She's got some interesting cases. She's a mama and she works, so she does it on her, time. And I'm looking forward to the case talking about this home in Florida where there was a boys' home, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it has a lot to it. A lot of death, a lot of abuse, very bad abuse. So trigger warning when you come over there. Arctic, you have something kind of special coming up.
I do. This Saturday, I will be doing an exclusive interview with Erin Knable, who is the sister of Andrea Knable that went missing out of. I'm sorry, she went missing back in I think it was 2017 out of Louisville, Kentucky. And the irony in her case is that she was actually working with Missing in America at the time that she went missing. And there was a case that she was working on that I covered on my channel today. So Just go check out that as well. The guy's name that she was working on, his name was Aaron. And so I don't think there's a connection there. I've looked into it, but it's just ironic. And it just goes to show that, you know, even those of us that work covering these cases, we're not immune to going missing ourselves. So
Exactly. I always say it can happen to anybody, especially nowadays. It's not like, you know, so this is, if I click on it, I think I'm going to give them the, if I can do that. Yeah, let me do that. I'm going to go on and give them the link to this video that you had. Oh,
okay.
I can't find it now. Let me just see. Here we go. You can continue to talk a minute here about some upcoming things if you want.
Yeah, I mean, that case is one that really needs attention shined back on it. The case has gone cold. Erin has been her sister's biggest advocate, though. She is all over Twitter. She's all over Facebook. She's advocating for her. I told her on the phone when I talked to her, I was like, you know, if I ever go missing, I hope you are the advocate for me, because you have been the best advocate for your sister that I have ever seen anyone do when they're advocating for a family member. And she feels bad because the night that Andrea went missing, she had walked over to her sister's house because she had gotten locked out of the house that she was staying in. She didn't have a key to get in. And she had asked Aaron to spend the night over there. And Aaron had told her no. And to this day, she regrets that. I mean, she has to live with that for the rest of her life. And of course, there's a lot more to the story than that. And we'll get into all that during the interview. But, you know, can you imagine? Being in her shoes.
I can't imagine advocating for the missing and then boom, it happens to you. And still your family is not getting what she was trying to have people be aware of.
I mean, her case has gotten a lot of coverage, don't get me wrong, but it was way back when she initially went missing. Right. And there's a lot of misinformation that's been put out there. And there's been a lot of re-victimizing of the family. And a lot of that, sadly, has happened. Some of it's happened by people that were supposedly friends of Andrea. So, I mean, you know, when I did my video, I ran it, I put it unlisted until I got permission to make it public by Aaron, because I didn't want to put anything that the family wasn't on board with out there. And I wanted to make sure that I got the facts right before I released the video. And honestly, I was kind of honored, because Aaron is the one that reached out to me via Twitter asking if I would help cover her sister's case. So that I was very flattered by that. So
I'm going to bring up a face on here that because I like to look at some cold cases. So I've been looking into some of these cold cases and getting their information. And if there has been anything that changed in like 50 years, 40 years, that they're still missing. Let me see if I can do this again. I'm learning again. Here we go. Share. That's not it. Window. There it is. Okay. Hopefully you guys can see her. Gosh. Okay, this person here is Christina Marie Easton. Okay, she went missing in Hayward, California on January 18th, 1971. Okay, blonde hair, blue eyes, 5'7", about 130 pounds. She was supposed to, it says she left her home at 10 p.m. to go to the car wash and then pick up her friend at local Jack in the Box restaurant. She never arrived to pick up her friend. Her vehicle, the vehicle she drove, was found. Oops, you guys can see that. Was found. Where was it? At the car wash located at 25400 Mission Boulevard in Hayward. Her purse was locked inside the vehicle. Christine was last seen wearing black and brown leather coat, black boots, blue slacks, red and blue pinstriped tourniquet or tunic, excuse me, and a bluish gold scarf. Now, I was looking into her, and she hasn't. There's been a little bit of movement, like in 2020, so they still haven't given up on her, which is great. I love seeing that people haven't given up on her. I found a new website.
Have they not done any type of age progression photo on her or anything?
I think they're working on that. That's what. No, they're not. They have done none. That's another thing I was telling you guys. Some cases they do that, and you'll see, like Leanne Warner, they've done it all through the stages of her life. That's wonderful. This woman that's a high school picture, so she's much older now, and she's not going to look like that. And I just wish they would do that with everybody, but we can all wish they do an Amber Alert, which is a good plug for Arctic. If you have that, please drop it into the chat. Everybody sign this petition, because Arctic is trying to make a difference for every single solitary person that ever becomes missing. Not just a child, not just a certain child, not just a certain criteria. He wants to make it a mandatory thing across the board, is to what I believe, right?
Well, for all children 18 and under, I think they should all get an Amber Alert. Now, we also need to work on getting better alerts out for adults. There are several people out there that, in my opinion, should have had a Silver Alert put out for them and haven't. And so I will be working on something on that end too. There's 1,000 things I've got in my mind that I would like to have happen that I'm working on, but primarily let's work on this one, and then we can go to the other things. Amber Alerts shouldn't just be broadcast out to phones, in my opinion. They need to go out like emergency broadcast signals, to where you get them on your television, your radio, even through your streaming services, because most people don't even watch traditional television today. Like all of you in the chat, you're watching this on YouTube. Wouldn't it be great that whenever a Amber Alert goes out, you get that on your screen as you're watching YouTube, even if it's just a little scroll bar like what's going across your screen right now? It would be better than nothing. And the thing of it is there's so many things that we could be doing. And also, I want to point out that Instagram, I want to give them a shout out for the first time that I probably ever gave them a shout out for anything. But I want to give them a shout out, because they are, like, in your local area, you will now get the Amber Alerts broadcast to your Instagram. But wouldn't it be great, especially for those of us that are creators, if these alerts, and I think that's what we need to do, all Amber Alerts broadcast on a national basis instead of just in a statewide basis? Because let's face facts, when a child's abducted or when they run away, whatever the case may be, a lot of times they're not going to be found in that state that they went missing from. Especially in the case of an abduction or a trafficking situation, they're usually going to be found states away. And that's why I always tell people, don't be on the lookout just in your area. Be on the lookout everywhere, because they're probably not going to, if they go missing from Arkansas, they're probably in California by the time they get found. Let's just face facts.
Right. I 100% agree with you. People need to start looking at the day and age we live in and change some of these laws to fit them, because a runaway today is not a runaway when I ran away. I ran away because my parents pissed me off, or they were going to make me go to school. These children run away for many different reasons, and it's not always their household. See, it's not always their household. There's a girl now. I can't remember her name, but she was the parents took the phone, Arctic, from her. She has her laptop, but
Skylar Linville, missing out of Tennessee.
There you go.
She had her phone taken away by her parents because she was sending inappropriate pictures on the phone. And again, it's one of those situations. I've covered it extensively over on my channel, but she left a note for her parents saying that she'd be back in a couple days. She never returned back. Her mom and dad, God bless their hearts, they had to dial 911 3 times before they even took a missing persons report, and it took 4 days that this child was missing before a missing persons report was even taken by the law enforcement there in Tennessee. And so, guys, I mean, have we not learned anything in the past 40 years? Johnny Gosh, we're almost
Oh
at the
yes.
40th anniversary of him being missing. And back then, they labeled him a runaway from day one. And he ultimately, he had never run away before. And we know now that he was abducted. There have been people testify that he was abducted by a man in a Ford Fairmont. It's crazy. That case is crazy. And I've done a little bit on Johnny's case too, if you want to go look over there, but I haven't done a whole lot. God bless his mother, Noreen. She is the one that fought tooth and nail and got it changed to where you no longer have to wait 48 hours to file a missing persons report on a child. So
Yeah, that's great. I give props to people who are making changes when they are going through something absolutely horrific. I cannot imagine it. Like I said, I do know what it's like to have a missing person, not a missing child. The person didn't end up being murdered or anything of that sort. Even what happened was they decided to be missing. Okay, so doesn't mean I didn't know about it, and the pain was still there. But these people are dealing with online trolls, people who try to re-victimize them, and all that, and it's really sad. Which gets me into the poll I asked you to take, and I will give the results. And I asked if it was a big creator, or what makes cases blow up, what makes a case take everybody's attention, and some take no attention. Okay, so the poll reads as I suppose I should say my answers to that. Right, let's do this the right way. Let's go to my page here and find it. Boy, put out some good things there, Arctic. Okay, it says, what is it you think makes a case get all the creators and subs to talk about it? Okay, and my answers were, or my choices were, a big creator with conspiracy theories, the age and story, where and how, the where, when, hows of a case, or the actions of the law lacking in not helping with finding answers. So the 14% said a big conspiracy, love creators with big conspiracy. 36% said age, the story, the where, the who's, and whys. And 50% said actions of law enforcement lacking in helping find answers. I found that to be a little interesting. What do you think, guys?
well,
I
I can
think
tell you right now, the ones that, not that I pay attention to what gets the most views or not, but the ones that you all out there seem to pay the most attention to when I do my lives, and it may just be because the majority of my lives focus on that, are the ones where law enforcement ain't doing a damn thing to help the parents. Um, you know, and that's the ones I choose to inject myself in, because the law enforcement are the ones these people turn to for help. And if they can't count on law enforcement to help them when their loved one goes missing, there's a problem there. And I recognize that our law enforcement officer here on the Real Crime Team is here. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
hello, Steve.
Yeah, if you guys have not subbed to him, please do. You will not be, believe me, I cannot give you him a good enough review. He is absolutely excellent at what he does. He's ex-law enforcement. He tells you across the board, straight up, he's got nothing to hide, and he wants to make a difference. He wants to take his experience in our world of real crime and make a difference. And I think that is very commendable of him. I like I asked Sunshine a question today, and Arctic, and I said, and I'll put it out here for you, Steve. Maybe you can say yes or no. Do you see? Okay, are you taken back by the amount of what we find to be corruption. Is that how to put it, guys? Lack of caring from the law, I guess.
Well, I mean, by the sheer amount of cases where law enforcement drops the ball, especially like in, the Skylar case where her mother and father had to dial 911 3 times, and it took 4 days just to get a missing persons report filed on her.
Right.
I mean,
there's his link. Please sub up to him. He's wonderful. Maybe he'll talk about that someday.
I didn't even say the best part though. So Skylar's parents, they went to the mayor and they went to the chief of police, right? Because it was absolutely disgraceful that they had to wait 4 days to get a missing persons report filed. So what does the officer do in retaliation when they go and file a complaint about the officer handling the case? That officer goes and gets DCS called on the parents.
Yeah.
And turns them into DC. Oh, it's yeah. So
it is horrible.
That's infuriating.
Like I said, I come from wrongful convictions, and I'm used to seeing corruption. I'm used to seeing people be wrong. I'm also that's something I'm used to. But when it comes to missing people, it's like watching a wrongful conviction case, except for there are people's lives here they're in desperate need of being found, because the longer they're missing, the harder the chances of finding them are, or finding them alive. And we all want them to be alive and safe and back with their families. And I say it again, if you're law enforcement and you're not helping a family that comes to you because you're the only source that they have to come to, and you're not helping them, and you're actually making their lives harder, like this law enforcement agency is, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Absolutely. I'm in a unique perspective because I came into this YouTube community from being a sub. I was just like everyone in the chat. I watched these YouTube videos for entertainment purposes, because even before I got into YouTube as much, I was a investigation discovery junkie, a true crime junkie all the way. But when you start covering these cases, watching them, you get infuriated. I get it. I because I used to. But when you start covering these cases and you start talking to these families, you think you're infuriated now. You wait until you start talking to these families and getting to know what they truly experienced and hearing it from their own voices. I promise you, you will be ready to pull every last hair out of your head. And it's saddening. It's maddening is what it is. And every time I think that I've heard everything, I hear something else that just blows my mind. So
hold the fort for 1 second. Somebody's knocking at my door.
Maybe someone's knocking on her door to tell her that she won Publishers Clearinghouse.
Oh, yep. Woohoo.
All I know is she better share if that's the case. But yeah, it is infuriating. And, and I've got my hand in so many fires right now with so many different families. And guys, I'm telling you, it's infuriating to me.
Yeah. Poor Arctic. He's heart of gold, and he just doesn't have enough time in a day to cover as many as that come at him. And that's why we're here as a team. And you guys are part of our team, because you have proved to us many times that you can help get the word out. And please keep on sharing their faces, share the videos that Arctic and Sunshine make. And I'm going to try to attempt to make these. So please be non-judgmental when I do. No, I'll take your criticism, but be kind. I'm probably going to get people, boy, you didn't say that name right. Oh, geez, you got that wrong. Boy, can you quit stuttering?
Here's the thing. I would never criticize someone that's putting forth a valiant effort to put out correct information and to get a child's face out there. I honestly wish, there's some that I see in our chat right now that would make very good creators.
I
And the
think
one
so
that
too.
stands out in my mind is Where the Wind Blows.
Yep.
She is always sending me information on cases. If I don't catch that a child's been found, she lets me know that a child's been found.
Yep.
And I think that she would be a very great creator in my mind. So,
I have to agree.
oh,
Oh no, you don't.
Hey, and if you're making TikTok videos where the wind blows, you can always upload those as shorts.
Yes, you could. Let's give her some reason, or he, or I'm not sure, because whatever hides behind a name, I'm sure you guys do, but we're not going to put person out like that. So it would be very nice that, because I always see Where the Wind Blows in lives all around, very knowledgeable about what case we're talking about. So that's really nice, and I love just having people here that just want to hear me talk too. I don't think that's the case. So I am very appreciative of all of you guys. Every one of you. Our team will continue to work doing what we do. If you guys have any suggestions for us, our links are in the description. Our emails are on our pages, I believe. I can speak for myself anyway. They are. We're more than willing to help. We appreciate all that you do for us. Your support really helps, and mainly your support in sharing all of these faces is, I cannot thank you enough, and I know a lot of you do it. So I really appreciate that. And I don't know. I guess I'm just going to be panel hopping with my crew. And Arctic has a live coming on Saturday, correct? With Andrea's
Saturday at 8 p.m. Central Time, I will be talking with the sister of Andrea Knabel, who went missing from Louisville, Kentucky. That is a very, very interesting case. You definitely do not want to miss that video or that live.
Mm-hmm. And Sunshine, I know we were talking about doing something during the weekend here with Julia. So
Yep, you guys want to make sure you watch for that notification too, and I'll share it all out on my social media and make sure it's on my community wall. We'll get that lined up, and definitely don't want to miss that, because I'd really like to deep dive in that project and get some awareness out there. Awareness is one of our first tools to prevention.
Yes, I think so too. Here we go. Thank you for answering this. I've worked with officers who are criminally corrupt and served federal time. Wow. Sadly, there is a percentage that enter into law, Ellie, who have no respect for their job or law. That's kind of sad to hear, but I guess it goes in every job. But I'm just curious as to, were you aware of so much? You probably were. You probably were very much aware, probably more aware than we are. Now that I think about that. As for officers who have vindictive traits, they are just as worthless as the criminals. 100%. Have to agree. 100%. All right, guys. I think we'll end this think tank. We hope that you all have a wonderful weekend coming up. Look for our things. Do not miss Arctic's live on Saturday at 8 p.m. And Sunshine and me will sometime be around here doing something. But we'll have another think tank next week, same time, same place. Have any suggestions for us? Please put them in our comments. Let us know what you think. What do you think, guys?
Just, thank you for everybody. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for all the subs. Without the community, there'd be no reason for us to be here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've said it 1,000 times. Without the subs, all we would be are people talking to ourselves in front of a computer screen. So,
and I do that on a daily. So be aware, share their faces, be aware of your surroundings, give your kids a hug, give your friends a hug, do something kind today in somebody else's name. And remember, you could be the eyes that bring somebody home. Have
absolutely.
A great day, guys.
Most importantly, if you see something, you got to say something, guys.
Yep. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Bye, y'all.
And I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the game that we say. I need a break. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on.